Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is November 9th, and right now we are looking at the infrared satellite imagery. You can clearly see the frontal system approaching the west coast of North America. You can see British Columbia, Washington, Oregon there, and you can see the cold air behind it. This front is losing a little bit of its punch as it moves through, but there will be some blustery conditions out there. But if you look across the Pacific Ocean here, this system out here is a stronger storm, and it's going to bring a strong low pressure through British Columbia here, tighten the gradient across a lot of the Pacific Northwest, mainly Portland north, across some of western Washington, southwest BC. We'll take a look at those wind speeds here because it looks like it may be the strongest wind for a lot of areas so far this year, including places in eastern Washington, Spokane also. We'll take a look at that. We'll take a look at the extended forecast precipitation coming up as well. And let's just dive into things here. Looks like we passed 53,000 last night. Again, thanks to everybody out there. You guys make this all possible, so much appreciated. This is looking at SeaTac so far this November. Over 4 inches of precipitation. The max wind gust so far at SeaTac this year, 33 miles per hour. Not a bad gust there, but I consider a windstorm 39 miles per hour or more at my house here, and I'm not that far from SeaTac, so we haven't got a big wind here really across a lot of the Puget Sound area, even though we had some blustery conditions, as you saw in one of my Seattle wind videos there, but there may be some strong winds incoming here, and I'll show you that here in a moment. This is Bellingham. Peak gust so far this month, 42 miles per hour, just under 3 inches of precipitation so far, and more to come here, and potentially breaking that max wind gust here for the month of November for Bellingham as well. This is eastern Washington. Check it out. Ritzville, Spokane at 41. You can see some of the higher terrain up over 50 miles per hour. Lewiston, Walla Walla, Tri-Cities all up over 40 miles per hour as well. And this will be going on in through the day, Saturday afternoon. Watch out for the crosswinds, high profile vehicles. And of course, you might get some tree damage and some nuisance power outages as well. And this should be wrapping up this morning. Patchy fog and freezing fog in some areas, in some of eastern Washington and eastern Oregon. And if you want a nice affordable home weather station, click on that link down below, 10% off. It's always more fun to watch the weather roll in when you've got a weather station at your house. So taking a wider look at things here, this is 100-meter wind speed. So just off the surface, you can see we've got Alaska, British Columbia, there's Washington and Oregon. Here goes our frontal system that's coming onshore as we speak. You can kind of see it losing some of its punch, but it's going to bring some gusty winds here, maybe out towards the San Juans, over the open waters here, straight to Georgia. And but this frontal system is not as powerful as the next one incoming here. And let me show you that. You can clearly see this system blast into British Columbia. It's going to tighten that gradient. And look at these winds across some of the San Juans, straight to Georgia out there. It's going to equal some big winds across Whidbey Island. We're going to get some gusty winds up the Puget Sound towards Bellingham as well. You can see the strong frontal system driving down across the Washington coast, weakening a bit as it gets towards the Oregon coast, and the Puget Sound there kind of picking up the wind speeds here as we go through very early Saturday morning and then pushing through there, as you can see. Now we'll go look at the extended here a little bit more in a few minutes here, but let's take a look at the 10-meter wind gust here on the NAM 3KM. Put it into motion, and you can see the blustery conditions, maybe some gusts up towards 50 miles per hour across the San Juans again today. But the stronger system will be arriving here as we go through Friday night into Saturday morning, and you can clearly see it come on in there. As you can see, Bellingham might get some gusts up over 50 miles per hour. Same thing with places like Everett, out over the Puget Sound, maybe Whidbey Island, the San Juans here. Seattle looking at mid-40s here, and that would be the strongest wind across some of the Puget Sound area, all the way down through Olympia and Tacoma so far this year. Some of the models showing some gusts up towards 43, 44 miles per hour for SeaTac as well. And then you can kind of see those winds move across some of eastern Washington as we go through the day Saturday. Gusts up over 40, 45, maybe 50 miles per hour, not out of the question. Now we're looking at accumulated max 10-meter wind gusts, kind of summary of the entire wind gusts here all the way through Saturday evening. You can see the stronger winds across eastern Washington, the higher terrain of the Cascades. And look at Everett 50, Bellingham 54, some big gusts across Whidbey Island, the San Juan Islands here, southwest BC, straight at Georgia, Washington coast. Probably the strongest wind coming from many of the areas here across the central Puget Sound as well. As I mentioned, SeaTac's biggest gust so far this season is 33 miles per hour. 44 is definitely much stronger than a 33 mile per hour gust. And you can see maybe some of the Willamette Valley getting up towards 40 miles per hour and some gusty winds down towards Astoria as well. Pretty typical blustery system here for the Oregon coast. Nothing too exceptional incoming there. This is the European, pretty similar similar here in the coverage of the wind speeds. You can see Bellingham at 53, some mid 40s potentially here for SeaTac all the way down through Olympia, and some gusty winds in the coastline. You can see those mid to upper 40s for eastern Washington. And watch out if you're in the backcountry, the higher terrain, especially on ridge tops, because it's going to get breezy up there, up towards 60 miles per hour. Some of the higher terrain all the way down through the Oregon Cascades. And look at the Strait of Georgia out here as well as the west coast of Vancouver Island. Big gusts incoming here through the night, Friday night into Saturday morning. Now looking at SeaTac, you can see the ensemble agreement here for the strong winds rolling in. And in fact, 6 of the members here have 50 plus mile per hour gusts. So we got to watch out for this. This has been trending upward here over the last 24 to 36 hours. The control checking in at 44 for SeaTac, which is a fairly significant wind. And check out Bellingham, 52 on the control, and almost pretty good agreement here of a 50 mile per hour gust incoming for Bellingham, the strongest so far this season. This is Friday Harbor checking in at 55. Some of the ensemble members have gusts up over 60 miles per hour. Whidbey Island, very windy up there as well as we go on in through early Saturday morning. Take a look at Quileute, upper 40s, maybe towards 50 miles per hour along the Washington coast as this frontal system sweeps down across and will be weakening as it moves towards northwest Oregon and the Oregon coast. But look at Everett, 51 in the control, and some very blustery, breezy, gusty conditions, maybe the strongest wind so far this season for Everett. Here's the story. I'm just kind of showing you the weaker winds as you go a little bit further south in Portland, something similar there as well with 37 miles per hour on the control. Now taking a look here, this is the frontal system rolling in through tonight. It's going to bring that precipitation, some blustery winds with it. Could be gusty up across the San Juans, Whidbey Island out there, but the secondary system that rolls in Friday night is definitely going to be stronger. As you can see, this 984 millibar low with this very tightly packed pressure gradient all the way down through western Washington there. So that's what's going to be our wind maker, this low pressure system all the way up across BC here. And it's all about that pressure gradient. Now taking a look at the European, this is going to look a little bit further off into the future here. This is the yesterday afternoon 0Z run. Here goes tonight's frontal system, some mountain snow all the way down through the Oregon Cascades here. Nothing too crazy. Snoqualmie Pass should be okay, but you might get some snow for Stevens and Highway 20 up there. You'll probably get some snowfall as you go on in through tonight into tomorrow morning. And then we bring the stronger system. Look at that pressure gradient really pack up across western Washington, southwest BC as that storm rolls through. It's going to bring a lot of precipitation with it as well, and some mountain snow, maybe a little bit for Snoqualmie Pass here as that front moves through. But again, the higher passes should be doing better, and you can see the snow starting to pile up across a lot of British Columbia, the Rocky Mountains, some Idaho and Montana getting in on that action as well. And then quickly another system on the heels of that one. This one is not nearly as windy, but it has some kind of atmospheric river look to it as well, as you can kind of see the precipitation hanging on across southwest BC, western Washington as that front moves through as we go through the early portion of next week. Then we drive this trough all the way down across the west coast here, and we'll be watching that one out there. It's still, we're looking a little bit far off into the future, 144 hours plus at that time frame. But if we scroll out even further, you can see again another strong frontal system if you look far enough out. So yeah, active November definitely continues here for the Pacific Northwest. This is the ensemble mean here, or total precipitation about 50th percentile, and you can see just over the next 15 days we're already over 4 inches for Seattle. This would put us close to 7 inches here just for SeaTac, which is a very wet November, and you can see the big precipitation forecast here all the way down through Oregon into California, and you can see the rain shadowing effect, of course, across some of the Columbia Basin, eastern Oregon on in through Idaho here as well, but big amounts likely incoming here with multiple systems as we go through the later portion of November. Total snow Kuchera ratio in inches. Let's just run this out here as well. And you can see as we go through on into Saturday night, not much coming for Snoqualmie Pass until probably Saturday late morning. Then you might get a few inches, but bigger amounts across Stevens, Highway 20, of course. And you see some of the Cascades piling up a bit, maybe a couple inches here for the Oregon Cascades as well. Better amounts across British Columbia here, higher terrain, Rocky Mountains as well as we go through the 90-hour period. Taking a look at SeaTac with the landslide potential. We'll have to revisit this day by day as well. We're right there by that threshold here, and some of these systems are still pretty wet coming up here, so we could be dealing with some landslide issues out there also. Nothing major has happened just yet. 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, kind of keeping things above average here across the Pacific Northwest. This goes through November 18th, and the above average signal really across a lot of the Southwest right now. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see this trend upwards, seeing some of those systems on last night's European run and some of the model runs this morning. We might be above average here through this period also. Check out the drought monitor. We have been improving here, and we're definitely going to be improving here over the next few weeks with system after system continuing to roll into the area. And Seattle technically not in drought. Like the Seattle Metro, if you zoom in a little bit closer, you can actually see it's just abnormally dry for that area. But still some of the west slopes of the Cascades up through Skagit, Whatcom County, out towards the coastal areas, still in some extreme drought out there. So this will be help. I mean, these systems that'll be rolling in here over the next couple of weeks will definitely be helping out with that. But anyway, yeah, there goes our frontal system for tonight. And this is the one we're watching here Friday night into Saturday morning. This one is going to pack a punch here, folks. So be ready for it. I may do another video here tonight, depending on how this trends during the day today. If it trends a little bit stronger, I will, because the National Weather Service has not put a wind advisory out for this for a lot of the area yet. They're probably going to do it across the Northwest Interior and maybe some of the coastal areas here, but they need to do it for the Puget Sound if we're going to get mid 40 mile per hour gusts. And technically a wind advisory doesn't start until 46 miles per hour, but you need to be prepared for that out there. Once you start getting that first system up into the mid 40s, you can really do some more tree damage here across the area. So anyway, hope you guys are liking these videos. Click like and subscribe. We'll do this again either later today or tomorrow morning at the latest, and I will talk to you guys then.